Welcome to Donington Park, the national circuit for this nationwide traffic solutions Thundersport 500 race, including Senior Cup. This is the Cup race. 80 riders went into qualifying. The top 40 have already had their first race. This is the riders that qualified from 41st to 80th, having a go out there for some pride. Never before have we had as many riders qualifying for a race at Thundersport GB. And what a championship this is turning out to be. Away from the line we go then, down into turn 1. And it is number 81 there that gets off to the best start overall. That's Owen Graves, who's managed to get through a lot of orange bibs out there, by the way, for riders that are new to this championship for the first time, and a few orange bibs going wide there on the exit of turn 1. We head down through Craner Curves then, and it is number 81 Owen Graves that has the early advantage through the old hairpin. A couple of riders running wide again there through Craner Curves. Mentioned that there are Senior Cup riders within this championship as well. That's for riders over the age of 40, and well, the leaders of this race at the moment come flying through McLean's corner, all trying to filter through. There's one or two riders, dads, from the actual top 40 from qualifying that are in this one as well. Look out for those. One of the riders' dads that I want to bring your attention to is Dave Jeff. Craig Jeff's dad. Craig, of course, a rider that was in the Thundersport 500 a few years back. He was in the Golden Era Superbikes last year, and Dave Jeff, number 24, is the rider you need to look out for. But at the moment, it is Owen Graves that has the advantage as we go into turn, oh blimey, 177. That there was Gary Wilson, who's come through from about 8th place on the back straight and has just stuffed it up the inside. It was like 10-pin bowling there. They all went over like Skittles pretty much as he fights his way through to the front. That was some piece of riding there from 177. Gary Wilson to take the lead, the rider there from Rotherham on the rare Fast Racing Honda. Well, it's quite rare to see anyone coming through from 8th into 1st, but this is Thundersport 500 racing. It does happen. Quick shout, as ever, for Phil Doody. I don't think we can get through a weekend without mentioning him. He is currently up inside the top 20. Now, yesterday he qualified dead last for this championship, which is 80th place, and he has asked a question as to whether or not he's broken a world record for having qualified lower down than anyone else in any race. Well, I can tell you that that is a Thundersport record, Phil, but it's certainly not an overall road racing record. I have asked the silhouetted race control, the man himself, Dave Stewart, and Dave said that he can personally remember a Supersport race in the Heat Super Cup in 1993, which is of course formerly the British Championship, realistically before the British Championship came into place. There was 122 Supersport 600s at Donington Park, batting it out in qualifying, and he was racing, although he did quite quickly point out that it wasn't him that qualified in 122nd place. There's already a change here out front. That is number 84. That's Chris Ashfield, who's putting in a decent lap there across the line. Dave pointed out that he actually qualified 19th for that, but there were 122 that went out in qualifying. So Phil, you've broken a Thundersport record, but you've not broken a world record, I'm afraid. And no, you're just slow. Basically, that's that's all we can really come out with on that one. Back to the front here, and that's a good move from number 84, Chris Ashfield, as he gets past number 177, Gary Wilson. All sorts of battles going on further back. Looked like someone had missed a gear there in 3rd or 4th place, holding up the rest of the pack. Not sure exactly what's going on there. Other riders to keep an eye out for. 158 is up there. Nathan Owen, he's got off to a decent start. Actually, one last comment on that 122 riders that were racing in 1993. I suppose, Phil, you could have broken a world record, sorry, because it could, of course, been you that qualified in 122nd back in 1993. What would you have been then? About 40? I'll tell you, it'd be best that I don't bump into Phil anytime soon here. the Mickey token going on. 177 it is. That has just gone up the inside of Chris Ashfield. A good race out front then here in this cup race for the Thundersport 500. There's no points on offer here. I mean, it's good that they get to race. So often you see with various championships, if you don't qualify for the main race, you get sent home. Not so here with Thundersport GB. You get to get out there, pride, some trophies on offer as well. And again, a change out front, and almost the front wheel wiped out there for number 177, Gary Wilson, as Chris Ashfield goes through on him. So some brilliant racing out front. That's not the quickest line over at the top of your screen there, as someone flies into pit lane. A couple of other riders fighting it out. This is number 43, James Hart, just going through your picture with 172. Dave Schofield from Barnsley just up next to him. Senior Cup riders in this field so far. Dave Jeff leading that battle, ahead of Mark Leaning, John Capper, Nick Turner involved in a decent race. But out front overall, it's Gary Wilson, who's there in second place with the orange bib on, just chasing down Chris Ashfield, the race leader overall. There is number 21. That's James Lee. Number 71 just following, David Heppenstall. And then number 185, Jamie Hudson. All sorts of characters out in this championship. There's number 177 up the inside of 84 again, Wilson and Ashfield here, really getting himself involved in a decent race. Lee Sylvan, the Lion Tamer, is up inside the top 8, I should just point out. Ed Flowers having a decent ride as well, number 76. 158 there. Nathan Owen really has closed in on this group. It looked like being just these two fighting it out for the race win overall, but if you just see in the background there, number 158 there with the orange bib on, just put in a lap that was a good second quicker than the two having a go at each other out front. So Nathan Owen, number 158, the rider from Newport, is slowly becoming a part of this race overall. And well, these guys continue to overtake each other at each available corner, and Nathan will be on top of you in no time. Through Craner Curves for number 21, James Lee from Stockton on the one-way round racing Honda. I just wonder whether that's Tom Leonard's old bike. It's certainly the same number in the same style for the rookie there. Another rider just to, oh, look at this. This is getting close now. They're almost elbow to elbow. Ashfield and number 177, Gary Wilson, still hanging on in there in the background. In third is Nathan Owen as well. We saw earlier on the rider getting the whole shot, Owen Graves. He's still fighting it out to get himself into fourth place. It's a big battle going on further back for that fourth. Across the line we go. You can see that big group of riders in the background, and now 158 in third place really is becoming a part of this race win battle overall. There he is, Nathan Owen, and he will know that he's catching them up. He'll have been able to smell them now as he heads around Hollywood and then into Craner Curves, and these two continue to chop each other up here as Ashfield goes underneath Gary Wilson, and then Gary will try and return the favour any second now. You're probably losing a couple of tenths per corner when you're overtaking each other like this on these machines. Around Schwantz Curve and up towards McLean's we go, and Ashfield it is that has the advantage. Now then, this gap here back to fourth place. That there is number 54, that's Lara Small. Lara who, well, I'll tell you what, Lara's a busy girl, I've got to say. She's a manufacturing engineer, team leader at Rolls-Royce Holdings. She lives in Derby, so this is her home race, and she's the second lieutenant in the British Army. And she goes motorcycle racing. Well, how's that for a calendar? A pretty busy life then for Lara, as she's out there racing at the moment. This is the battle for the lead though. Ashfield, number 84 on the blue bike, leading from the green machine there of Gary Wilson. That gap now back to third, just opened up slightly as Owen Graves loses a bit of ground on that lap. Still a fair few people over on pit wall there, keeping a close eye on this race. The Thundersport 500 Cup, all wide on the exit there for Nathan Owen, number 158. He's desperately trying to get his name in the mix here to win this overall, but it's not quite going to happen just yet. Of course, ultimately the aim for these guys, as we see another change for the lead and good exit out of the old hairpin for Gary Wilson there. Ultimately these guys, the big aim is for them to try and make their way into the main Thundersport 500 race when we get to Snetterton. There's Phil Doody, you mentioned him earlier, number 147, taking the defensive line there to try and prevent Richie Knoll from flying past him. And Phil Doody there sporting the number 6 on his helmet in memory of the late Ian Alkins. There's 15. That's Daniel Kappa from Middlewich on the Team BGC Racing Honda. We've also got a John Kappa out there as well, who has to be related, I'm sure. Now then, back to the front we go. Number 84, Chris Ashfield, and number 177, Gary Wilson, have been inseparable here in this race so far, but the last lap flag is now out. In the background there, Nathan Owen hasn't been able to hang on to these two, so it's going to be one of these surely that takes the win. Who will reign supreme in this first Cup race? Chris Ashfield it is, with the advantage from Gary Wilson. So far, no moves there into Hollywood and around Craners. And Chris Ashfield here has really got some speed as we go into the old hairpin. Elbows out riding style there from Ashfield as he now exits the old hairpin. So that's one overtaking opportunity gone. This is a part of the circuit though where Gary Wilson is rather quick, and now he pulls up alongside, thinks about a look up the inside into McLean's. He's not quite close enough there. Now we go on to this little short stretch up towards the blind entry of Coppice Corner. All the while here, Gary Wilson trying to find a way past. He's going to have to now get into the slipstream down the back straight. Here we go then. It's one of these two. Ashfield it is, number 84, that has the advantage, but in the slipstream and now pulling out is Gary Wilson. It's going to be very, very close, and they're almost touching. Neither of them want to give way into Robert's chicane for the final time. Oh, and what's happened there? Number 84, Ashfield, had to sit up and go straight on. Has he hit neutral or something? I'm not sure what's happened. Either way, checker flag goes out and Gary Wilson's got the win. Not sure what has happened there in the background. Second place does go to Nathan Owen. It's so windy out there. Dave is struggling to hold on to his checkered flag. In third place, Owen Graves. Now, fourth place, Ed Flower. Fifth for Dave Jeff, who wins the Senior Cup in this Cup race. And then the Lion Tamer, Lee Sylvan, in sixth. I can tell you that Ashfield has gone across the line, but he's gone way down. 24th for him.
Gary Wilson, winner of the NTS Thundersport 500 Cup. I mean, obviously, it's manic this weekend with 80 of you guys booked in. And obviously, it shows where this kind of works, where you have this cup race, which, you know, gives somebody like you a chance and loads of confidence to keep moving forward, eh?
That's it, yeah. I mean, at the end of the day, you know, where you turn up, you take your panels off your motorbike and strap some race panels on, and you come racing, and literally that's what we've done this weekend. You know, turned up and had a go, and it's been fantastic. So
do you think you would have ever tried this if it hadn't have been for such a budget class?
No, not a prayer. The amount it costs, you know, to come and racing is minimal compared to what some other lads are spending. One set of tyres for the entire race weekend, including a track day, you know, and we sat on the podium, which is good.
Well, that's that makes the difference, and of course they're subsidised tyres. I'm not saying they're cheap, but it's you know, compared with say like GP1. But you know, this is a fantastic thing about it. But anybody to thank?
Yeah, a few people, obviously friends and family. RC Graphics for stickers and stuff like that. Motos, race paints for painting bike, and my little lad for coming and supporting me. A couple of kids that aren't able to get here this weekend, but thanks to everybody. Yeah, thank you.
Donington Park Race 2 for the Nationwide Traffic Solutions, the Thundersport 500 Cup race for the riders that qualified from 41st down to 80th. And we saw quite an entertaining race earlier on, as we see a few riders here on the front row. Owen Graves here got the whole shot and ended up finishing in third place overall. Of course, Chris Ashfield it was that seemed to have everything in the bag and then went onto the gravel and ended up not finishing even inside the top 20. On pole position there is number 21, James Lee. I should warn you, can see from the clouds there, we have got a bit of rain forecast and a couple of spots of rain on the lens there of the camera. These guys have started out in dry race conditions. Now they haven't got slick tyres, they've got Bridgestone road tyres effectively, which would be effective to a certain degree, but if the rain was to really hammer it down, then we could be in for some fun. It is through Hollywood and into Craner curves we go, and it is number 81 with the advantage, Owen Graves, just like we saw in race 1. few right, oh blimey, and already now you can see that the camera lens there, a few spots of rain, and already we have a victim down at the old hairpin, a rider that has gone down and out of the race. Now then, where has Owen Graves gone? He's gone. Owen Graves, who had the whole shot, has gone down. We've got a couple have gone down. Oh my word! And a few spots of rain here, and you're going to have to be careful on the curbing and on the white line. Some pointing and some waving going on here. What's happened? There's three riders down there, and riders just making sure there's a rider down. Good heavens! What a start to the race this is. That was 76 Ed Flower that's gone down. So Dave Jeff's gone down as well. Ed Flower, Owen Graves and Nathan Owen. That's just on the first few corners. Out front, Chris Ashfield here and number 177, Gary Wilson, much like the first race. Now you want to steer clear of those white lines and the curbs, folks, because with a few spots of rain around the circuit, you just want to keep it on the black stuff. Across the line we go. Similar story out front. And there's a few riders that are putting into pit lane that they've said, I've had enough of this already. Let's get the van started off. We're off to Snetterton. Snetterton coming up next month, of course, for these riders. But this is where it gets tricky because some parts of the circuit are dry, other parts are wet. For the time being, oh my word, there's one rider low siding, one rider high siding on the same corner. Remarkable stuff here. Who on earth was that? That's just gone. Oliver Dean's just gone down. And, well, they're falling like flies out of this race. In the meantime, it is Chris Ashfield that still has this advantage now, and he'll want to make sure that he sees the checkered flag this time a little earlier than he saw it in race 1. You can hear a few spots of rain there from this particular camera. In third place there is Lara Small, number 54. She's having a good start to this race. She's got the orange bib on. It's her first full season of racing, and another rider's gone down. And that is Lara Small. Sorry, Lara, I've just given you the commentary curse going around McLean's corner. Oh my word. And I'm laughing because the attrition rate on these opening 2 laps is absolutely ridiculous. I've just looked over at the screen of riders that have gone out of this race, and it is growing as we see the front here. Gary Wilson and Chris Ashfield continue to take chunks out of each other out front. This is, I should just remind you, this is a race for pride. And not many people want to finish. There is 1-7. My word, what on earth is going on here? Lots of different lines going through that particular corner, particularly from Dave Bezic. Dave, who's one of the senior riders, avoiding action there of around about 4 or 5 different riders. Although I will just point out, Dave is doing the right thing in terms of staying on the bike, which is the general idea. This is your race leader. It's changed already. Number 177, Gary Wilson, now up ahead of Ashfield. And you can see that it's a bit slippery at certain points of the circuit. Now, if it was to get fully wet, of course, then you start looking up towards Dave Stewart in race control. He's the man that would make the decision whether this gets stopped for race conditions. At the moment, the track temperature will still be pretty much the same as what it was in race 1. You've just got to be a bit careful. It will be a bit slippery when you get on the gas, and of course, if you hang on to the brakes for too long. But there are other parts of the circuit that are bone dry. These are horrible conditions, let's face it. No one likes this sort of stuff, as we see there, 167. That is Chris Cooper leading this gaggle of riders. Number 71 again there, David Heppenstall, and number 99 is Michael Bishop. Now, we have had 12 riders go down in the first few laps of this race so far. There were 37 that started this particular race. 3 of them decided not to even bother at all. Maybe sensing that there was a bit of rain coming. There's 172 and 16. 172 we mentioned already, Dave Schofield earlier on. Number 16 is John Capra. Number 38 there as well is Mick Marshall from Raw Marsh on the Rare Fast Racing Honda. 37 just going slightly wide on the exit, Kevin Sweeney. Well, this is some race going on here. You can see this part of the circuit's actually bone dry as they go down the start-finish straight and then head into turn 1. But then, as we go down into Craner curves and then around the old hairpin, it starts to get a little slippery, around about here in fact. So you have to be so careful, tiptoeing around turns 1, 2 and 3. Back to the front we go. Chris Ashfield it is that leads, number 84 from 177, Gary Wilson. In a race that started with around about 37 riders at the moment, we are going to be lucky if we finish with any more than 20. We have so many riders that have gone down, and that stationary yellow flag up there, we might as well keep it up because we've had so many people going down. that the marshals is being kept very busy indeed. You can see there the rain that's sort of horizontally. Yeah, there's another rider gone down over in the background there as well. There's a car park over at Coppice of Thundersport 500s. This, you'll look at the rain really coming down now, and we are getting close to conditions that we may well see a stoppage in this race shortly. You can see the sort of the gleam on the tyres now of the wet weather, but these two are still going at it. They're still lapping fairly well, Ashfield and Wilson, as they go across the line. We've had another few riders down. We've actually got 17 riders of the 37 have gone down here, leaving us with 18. Now that's almost 50% of the field that we started with that have gone down, and now the rain is really hammering it down. Really is coming down, and these are not nice conditions at all. There is number 75 for Nick Turner, and then number 18 Richie Knoll. But you see that part of the circuit not so bad. Others absolutely treacherous here for these riders, as Matt Stevens just going through your shot, and there you see him going around Hollywood through crane of curves. It's when, not if, this race gets stopped, as we get a quick glimpse of 15 Daniel Capper and 69 Ian Armstrong from Halifax on the HB Motorcycles bike. He's thinking you get better weather than this up in Halifax. I want to get home now. There's number 84 though, Chris Ashfield, who's still got his head tucked in. He wants to win this race. I should just point out that we, as lack of adhesion flag, well, there's the understatement of the century over at Coppice Corner. A number of other riders as well just going through. Number 18, we just saw Richie Knoll. We're getting to that three-quarter race distance in a moment where, of course, the race could be declared, and Chris Ashfield would be, at the moment, declared the winner. So if he makes it through this chicane, I don't think it'll be... Well, at the moment he's got a decent advantage over Gary Wilson. He seems quite comfortable actually in these conditions compared to one or two others. Across the line for the race leaders, there is number 15 Daniel Capper, who's in third place. He's up ahead of Ian Armstrong. Well, you see there the orange bib for Daniel Capper. This really is, you're learning quite a bit out here. That's number 8 Harley Smith, just being overtaken by Nick Marshall. Harley from Driffield on the British Army Racing Honda, and number 38 Nick Marshall from Raw Marshall, the Rare Fast Racing Honda. Oh, these are really nasty conditions. You can see the Thundersport recovery truck in the background there. They'll be jam-packed full of Thundersport 500s at the moment. This is your third place rider. Chris Ashfield it is that still has the advantage out front, ahead of Gary Wilson. Here he is, your race leader, still full of concentration with that clear visor. And now the rain hammering it down around McLean's corner up towards Coppice. Coppice will not be a pleasant corner to navigate around at this moment in time. There is number 39, Matt Stevens from Nuneaton. At least he's not got too far to travel home after this and get himself nice and warm. Number 75, Nick Turner from Kettering, Fermac Racing Honda. And this is not a race for the memory. And red flags have come out, and that's not a massive surprise. Red flags have come out here. Really horrible conditions. Chris Ashfield then, well, it will go back a lap, and it will be 6 laps completed then, and Ashfield is confirmed the race winner here. And, well, he'll remember it, but not a lot of others will. Certainly not the 17 that crashed out of that race. There's the results then. Ashfield the winner, 1.7 seconds clear of Gary Wilson. Daniel Capper was third, then Ian Armstrong, then Mark Stevens, and in 6th place, it's Nick Turner. And on the podium, there you see Chris Ashfield centre, with Gary Wilson on the left and Daniel Capper on the right.
Chris, that's the toughest conditions I've seen for a while. I mean, obviously, everybody's on dry tyres. How did you manage that?
Well, I don't know. It was just a case of just ride the thing and hope for the best, I think. It was snaking all over the place, but it was just hold on to it for dear life, really, and see what happens. But yeah, it was good. It was good. I had no idea how far in front I was. I was just like, just ride it and see what happens. That was my motto.
Well, you did a great job, and of course that's always the trick with tyres like that. I mean, you just don't know who's doing what and where and how fast you really are pushing it, do you? Who would you like to thank?
I'd like to thank all the guys in the paddock, you know, because I had a really bad qualifying and I smashed my bike up, so they all helped me back together. So Pete Barbell, Jack Tyne and Pat Tyne and, you know, Sam Smith, all those guys helped me put the bike back together. Cheers. And I'd also like to thank obviously my family and friends, you know, my dad Tim Ashfield, you know, my sister and my mum for coming down, just, you know, those guys really. That was it really. Cheers.
And that is the camaraderie of the Thundersport 500. It's a great place to race, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. It is. It's where you learn your trade. I tell you, these guys, they are the best. Yeah, they are mint.
Excellent. Well done.
All right, thanks a lot, guys.